Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, Craig here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is George, and he is selling his dropshipping business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, George, and how are you doing today?
Oh, thanks for having me, Craig. I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, thanks for asking. And I'm looking forward to talking more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of the business. So it's a dropshipping business in the occasions and gifts niche, created in November 2018. The average monthly revenue for the business is $13,296, and it makes an average of $6,020 net profit each month. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 48284 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given an overview of the business, let's have a look at what's included in the sale. So you have a domain including all site content and files, 2 additional domains used as 301 redirects, an email list with 9,230 subscribers, social media accounts for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, SOPs, employee contracts, and a supplier contracts with relationships. Okay, now George, I'd like to hear from you. Can you tell us a little about your background in building and running online businesses?
Sure. I guess my background was in marketing and SEO and things like that. I've been an internet marketer as a job title since about 2002. I started working for myself in about 2004, and I have a handful of online businesses, build websites, rank websites, do affiliate marketing, sell direct products, domaining, all of that. I've been, I guess, heavily involved in online marketing and websites. All of this entire, I guess, decade.
Excellent. And was there anything from that experience that you applied to this site with SEO or marketing tactics?
Oh, sure. Well, when I built the site, it was, everything was, I guess you'd say, SEO ready. So I used just best practice stuff, file names, title tags, things like that. It's built on a domain that helps it rank, initial link building, all of that stuff was all, I guess, white hat tactics that I've learned over the years.
Okay, and you have a background in marketing, but how come you decided to start this particular dropshipping business in this particular niche?
So I have another business sort of in this industry, but not sort of tied to it, but not really. So I have another business that sells lots of, or I guess our ideal customer is someone who purchases a similar item, but they purchase in large bulk quantities. And we were getting lots of leads who are looking for the same product, but in a quantity that we couldn't offer. And initially I offered it on our other sites, and I had a design staff and other employees who would field stuff. And it ended up, I was losing money every time we would get one of these leads in. That's not a great way to run a business. So I planned this site out and sort of developed it to be self-serving. And so that's kind of where the idea for it came. So it was built with, a necessity to, instead of throwing the leads out, I could convert them into customers, but without it taking any of my regular employees' time or effort.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So in terms of making money, the primary way this business makes money is through selling the products?
That's correct. The customer, they buy it online, and that's the transaction there, and it gets shipped to them.
Okay, cool. And as for, you have multiple similar businesses, I'm assuming they're dropshipping as well. So how come you chose the dropshipping business model as opposed to something like e-commerce or Amazon FBA?
I guess you call it dropshipping, but my other business is a little more hands-on, where we actually are, some of the stuff where we might be manufacturing the products, or I have closer relationships with the manufacturer, or interest in their, in their production or whatnot. So it's not like, I guess when you hear drop shipping, you think like, I don't know, like AliExpress or something. So it's not that level of dropshipping. It's actually like a, finely tuned product. And so the customer, it's reliable and the customer gets something, it's not like a 14-week wait and it comes in a plastic package from China or whatever. This thing's made in the USA and, it gets to the customer that way.
Okay, yeah, that's some great insight. So I understand why I chose the business model. So how come you chose this particular niche?
Well, actually, I sold a business previous to this and I had a non-compete in another industry. And so I ended up going down. So I was not able to build another business in that one. So I built a business in this industry, which I can't really, I guess I'm trying to think of a nice way, a way of talking about it without giving out what it actually is. So it would be if I had a restaurant and we sold pizzas and I wasn't allowed to sell pizzas, but I could still open a restaurant. I now have a burger shop, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense. That's actually a pretty good analogy. So regarding the business, so it seems to be earning well, seems to be performing quite well. So how come you're selling it at this point?
So the main reason is, well, it's exceeded my expectations of what I thought this could do. So it was initially that my other business, the one that was the reason why this getting the leads and the customers, I was taking on 2 partners in that business. And so when I spun this off, because I spun it off to be my own ownership of it rather than be owned by the previous company. So it was me and my wife doing the work on it. So I didn't want that to be part of the sale. So I spun that off into its own thing earlier this year. And then I was hoping that it would just be kind of a side project that I would work on here or there. And then we ended up with all the TikTok stuff and all the viral things that have happened. It's taken some of my focus away from my other business. And that's the one that I really need to be working on. Okay,
yeah. Tell me about the TikTok viral sort of exposure you got for this business. What happened there?
So what happened there was basically we were one day, we were like, oh, wow, we're getting a couple orders. Wow, more orders than normal. And it was like the day before it truly hit, we were like, wow, that was an awesome day. Like, whatever, I don't know the actual numbers, but let's say a normal day was 50 sales and this day was 200 or something like that. And the next day it was just nonstop. And so I started writing customers. I'm like, hey, how did you hear about us? And then I asked a bunch and no one told me. And then this one person was like, oh, I found it on, people would tell us TikTok. And so we're like, all right. And I spent an hour browsing around TikTok trying to typing the product in and trying to figure out what it was and had no luck. And then finally a customer told us and gave us a link to it. And we were just like, this video is what is causing this thing to do so well today. So that was the first TikTok video. The person that posted that, she was a previous customer. She bought, a couple weeks prior to posting the video. And it was kind of like an unboxing video. I guess maybe like bragging about the thing she ordered because it was a gift for her boyfriend. And I have no idea how TikTok works. And it just ended up, getting thousands of views. She did a follow-up video, which dropped the site by name. And that's when the traffic really started going crazy for it. And then that lasted till, I think that was in January, and we had a hard cutoff for Valentine's Day. And so our traffic, we were just cooking until that cutoff. And then we've had a couple other spikes like that. And another one was more, I guess it was like a hashtag or a keyword or whatever. And there was a whole set of videos about that. We didn't have any named in there, but that brought like just more awareness to the product than what was previously there. And then there was a couple other ones sprinkled in, it seemed like, based on the spikes that we had, but I don't really know a way, to track it to a specific point other than the first one that we had, just because someone showed us.
Nice. And you didn't sort of actively pursue TikTok. This was done by a previous customer who wasn't an affiliate for you, right?
Yeah, she was not. No, it was just posting. I think she was a happy customer and posted whatever. After that, though, I have a plugin. We run on WordPress and then WooCommerce, and there's a plugin that I have. Oh, I don't know the name off the top of my head, but it's like Refer a Friend. It's part of a bigger WooCommerce marketing plugin. And so she became Advocate, I believe they're called within the software. And, she got a referral code or something like that. And people signed up with that referral code. She'd get every 5 people that bought, she'd get like a free one or something like that. I think that was what the math worked out to be. So she signed up for that and she's had some sales, but that's not how this was driven. It was just, I guess, good luck. This is how it was.
Yeah. So would you say that using TikTok could be potential growth opportunity for this business, pursuing that further?
Oh, I would say for sure. It seems like that is an ideal demographic for this. My experience, though, is not. It seems like all social media would be good for this. It seems it's definitely a gift for people under 30 years old. I would say under 20 is probably the majority of where it is. And, I'm an older man, and I just don't understand how that stuff works. So yeah, my expertise is not in Facebook, Instagram, or definitely not in TikTok. So definitely over my head and as far as pursuing any of that.
Excellent. Yeah. And is there anything that you've learned from this business that you'll apply to future sites or businesses outside of getting lucky on TikTok?
Well, I think probably one of the bigger takeaways. So when I built this, I guess I looked at kind of our statistics and whatnot and knew that I don't think I knew it was going to be as young of an audience as it is, but definitely mobile traffic. And so I built this to be, as mobile friendly as possible. And I kind of think like all my stuff moving forward I think that's got to convert on the phone.
Yeah, it's a good insight. It's really interesting for a potential buyer to understand. So this is all the successes of the business since you're doing great. Is there anything that you've tried in terms of growth or anything like that hasn't worked?
Oh, yeah. I've tried ever since like seeing the social stuff. I tried to do, like a Facebook and I've never had luck on Facebook and I've continued not to have luck on this. So I don't know what I'm doing on there. So I spent like $100 or something and it's been a failure. I don't even know how to get ads on Instagram. I attempted to do that thinking that would be something, but yeah. And I guess the other part that I've been pretty terrible at is our social media is lacking at best. I think we have a handful of posts only. So those would definitely be failures.
Excellent. Yeah. And then I guess they pose as growth opportunities for a potential buyer, right? So that's sort of to put a positive spin on it anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's sort of on the high level of the business. For the day-to-day, what sort of work do you do to maintain the site?
Sure. So I guess the main things that I have to do are update plugins on the website and trying to think like every month I do like a kind of a report that I run for myself that takes some time to put together. I look at, all the traffic that goes to it. I try to break down the number of orders and all that just so I can figure out kind of where everything stands. That's probably the biggest time consumer that I have. And then updating the plugins, like the way that I do it is I run on WP Engine and they have a staging area. However, I'm probably not the best at doing this. So they have a staging area and I know you can push your changes. You're supposed to do all your changes on the staging and then push them to the live server. However, I couldn't figure out how to do it without overwriting my orders. So I do everything on the live server. And so I might have to wait till 2 a.m. when no one's on the site and I do a backup and I push everything live. And so that might be, I might do that a couple times, probably twice a month, something like that. Or if there's a urgent plugin update, I might have to do that at that point. But beyond that, I've mainly been working on my other business.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So outside of social media marketing, potentially, what skills do you think they would need to be able to run this business?
I would imagine like basic business skills would be good for it. A lot of the work would end up being outsourced to, the contractor that we're currently using for the processing of the orders. I have a list of things that I think could be used to kind of grow the site. So if they were like a heavy tech person, I think there's a lot of opportunities there to probably make a more user-friendly site. It's pretty good now, but like someone who knows, like, if let's say a developer bought it, they could streamline a lot of the stuff probably in that direction. And if someone with a marketing background did it, they could probably do a better job of SEO than I did. Or, anyone with, I forgot to mention this one, the email marketing, that's another area I'm totally lacking and terrible at. I've probably sent 1 or 2 promotions out. So someone who knows how to do email stuff would be, that would be a great skill set. So I think someone who maybe knows how to capitalize on their list or their own little network, I think could do really well with it.
Okay, and I heard you mention about you outsource some work. So there are currently 2 outsourced workers for this business, right?
That's correct. Yeah, there's 2 that are both part-time we're going to end up transitioning it to just one so that it's easier to migrate to a new owner. And it's someone in the US, they get $12.50 an hour. And so I think that could be, if you outsource it to another country, it could probably be done, for half that or less. But we have the operating procedures and all that in place. I haven't uploaded that yet to the site. But yeah, the main day-to-day is order processing and customer service. Customer service is very little. It goes up when orders go up. So it can spike here or there. But beyond that, I think a few minutes a day. And then orders are probably about 1 minute per order is, I would imagine, about what the time it takes to process one. And someone with technical skills, I think, could probably shave, 15 to 25 seconds off each order by doing a couple changes to the site that are above my skill level.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So that's the day-to-day maintenance of the business. But what do you think are the biggest risks with the site that a buyer should be aware of?
I think the biggest risk is probably looking at the traffic and thinking that it's all social based, and those social spikes that we had, or the social media TikTok spikes. I think what that has done, though, early on, I've been in this industry, I guess, now for close to 3 years. And what the social stuff did was raise awareness for the entire industry. And so now there's more search traffic than there used to be. So basically, if there's a large group of people that didn't even know this product existed. And now there is a larger audience for it than there was prior to these first videos going viral. So I think looking at it and thinking that, it's all social, and, I think that would be the risk. But I also think that it has raised the overall search volume dramatically because now there's that much more awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
Well, it's kind of a cool little product. It doesn't require a lot of day-to-day maintenance to keep it going. And if they can figure out, how to hit that younger audience, I think they'll absolutely crush it. There's a couple other similar products out there who do things slightly different, and I know that they're crushing it as well. So it just seems it's kind of a weird little niche that might do better than you would imagine that it could. So I think that's, those would be the main reasons.
Yeah, they sound like great reasons. So regarding the sale of the business, would you commit to a non-compete?
That part is a little bit tricky. I would definitely do a non-compete for this exact product. However, since I'm selling one that is similar, if we said the quantity was the thing that differentiates the two, if we said, would I commit to not selling less than 25 pieces? Yes, of course, from this particular manufacturer. But I think that's kind of the one area that, that we'll have to work out. But yeah, I would not compete directly with this site. I have no intention of doing this. The customer base that we're trying to reach is much, I guess I'm looking for dealerships or dealers rather than customers or consumers. I'm trying to hit the wholesale market.
Yeah, and for any potential buyers listening, you can always schedule a call with George and find out more details about this sort of area if you're interested. So how much support are you willing to offer buyers? Are you going for the standard 30 days of email and Skype support?
Yeah, that's, I guess, what was asked. I wasn't really sure. I think normally it was like 2 Skype calls or 1 Skype call. I said I would be willing to do 30 days of email support. But really, I would like to make sure this person's successful. So I'd be available, I'd say 30 days, but, if they need more hand-holding after that, I guess I'd be open to maybe something more if required.
Oh, it's really great to hear. So I'm sure that'll be very helpful for a potential buyer. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
I guess the best way I've ever heard of this is to tell people that I'm not a bank, which I am not. And so I don't love the idea of an earnout. However, if the terms were right on it, I guess I would be somewhat okay with it. But yeah, it would really have to be the right terms, I would say.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair enough. So is there anything else that you'd like to share that I might have missed?
I don't really think so. I'm trying to think if there's anything that we didn't cover about it.
Yeah, it seems like we've covered a lot today, and there's a lot of great insight for buyers. So yeah, thank you very much for your time, George. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Craig.
All right, everyone, thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 48284. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.